Hi friends, David here from Above AVL and Learn Stage Lighting, and in this video we're going to talk about this guy right here. This is, you spin me right round, baby, right round, the Proteus Radius from Elation. So we want to take a look at it, talk about the things that it does besides obviously endless 360-degree pan and tilt, what makes it unique, and why you might care about it. Let's dive in. Stop the crazy spinning, and what are we looking at here today? Well, the Elation Proteus Radius is a really interesting fixture. So it's essentially a waterproof beam fixture with what they call a LILE light engine. Now, it may or may not have a lot of characteristics that seem very similar to laser engine fixtures. It's a phosphor converted light engine. So basically, it's a 100-watt light engine that puts out a bunch of light and that will last 10,000 hours. So you never have to replace the lamp, but it's not necessarily really LED based. It's what they call a LILE. It is categorized as a class 1 risk group 2 laser device. And so what that means is, yes, essentially what you see coming out of this beam and the reason why it's very, very strong despite being a 100-watt engine is because it's not really a lamp in the sense that it's going to last 2,000 hours and then you got to replace it. So with a lamp-based fixture, right, you have a 2,000-hour lamp. That's from, that lamp is running hours, it's running time from when you turn it on, you lamp on the fixture till you lamp it off at the end of the night. Whether it's outputting or not, it's running time on the lamp, right? This is a LILE light engine, so it's rated for 10,000 hours, may last longer, we'll see. And, essentially, it only is counting time when it's on. Okay, so if it's not outputting, it's not counting time. It's more like an LED. Okay, but unlike an LED, as you can probably see here, is this 100-watt fixture. I mean, look at this auto exposure with our usual strip lights here, our light pipes and our strips and our LED wall. And this thing's just blowing all of them out of the water. Why? Because it's very, very bright. Okay, so legality-wise, what you get into is that this is the first essentially laser-type source moving head in the US market where you can run it without a variance. Okay, so you don't have to have a federal variance. There are a couple stipulations to running this fixture. Okay, so the first is just simply that if you take the beam like we've got here, we'll pop the really wide prism into it. And if we're pointing it at humans, at people, this can be either audience members or performers, you need to keep the beam moving. Okay, it can't go stationary. All right. Number two is that if you are pointing it into the sky, the unterminated sky, so just the great outdoors, you're pointing to the sky, it's not hitting anything, it's just going up there where the planes are, you do have to file the reports to get permission from the FAA to do a live event. But outside of that, you can do whatever you want with it, which is pretty cool. And so essentially, it's a weatherproof IP66 fixture. It's fairly heavy for its compact size, but it's got a lot of bells and whistles under the hood. Okay, so let's start to walk through them. First and foremost, we've got full CMY color mixing on this guy. So we can go ahead and we can just mix colors all day long and see them mixing in the beam, and it looks really nice, really punchy. Remember, right now I've taken it, it's at full, but I've taken it to the widest, least efficient prism so that it's not just blowing out on camera. Okay, so it's really a pretty bright fixture for medium to larger stages. It also has a nice color wheel where, things like a deep red are going to be much more brighter, much more vibrant than if you mix them with CMY. Okay, pretty typical. On that color wheel, there's also a rainbow chip, which is red, yellow, blue, and green, and looks really epic, as you can see here. For example, we, point that into the camera, right? How stinking cool is that rainbow chip? As we discussed previously, pan and tilt wise, it's got a really nice pan and tilt range normally, but then it also has 360-degree pan and tilt, which means that you can go ahead and you can do this all day long, right? And just let it go, which is a really stinking cool effect that, you know, there are some fixtures that do that out there, but not a massive ton, right? Similarly, we can pan indefinitely, right? Or we can do the two together. I personally like the counterclockwise tilt with the clockwise pan. And you can do that all day. Really stinking cool while you do everything else, right? It has a full set of gobos. So being a beam fixture, you know, you've got some gobos to break things up, to give you some different looks in the beam. You know, they don't do a massive amount, but they do something. So what you're getting here is a really narrow, really tight beam. Let's actually just go ahead and go the other way to our wall. All right, and so we got a nice prism there. You see, very sharp, but unlike a beam fixture, right, I can put my hand in front of it. It's really not hot. Okay, so there's a variety of gobos. There's actually, surprisingly for a small beam fixture, there are actually 2 gobo wheels. Pretty cool. So you're able to switch between 2 wheels, so you've got a lot of gobo choices to be able to adjust the beam a little bit. And then you have the ability, actually, gobo 1, as crazy as it sounds, is actually a rotating gobo. And so that's pretty nuts, because essentially on beam fixtures, you don't typically see rotating gobos. Okay, you see rotating prisms, but not gobos. But because it has a really small light source, that LILE engine that we're not calling a laser, it's able to actually rotate a gobo, which is pretty cool. You can also stack prisms. So previously I had just the 8-facet in, but then there's this 3-facet and there's this linear, which looks to be a 5 or 6-facet, but we can check the specs and write it on the screen. And, you know, the ability to go ahead and then take those and stack prisms from both wheels means that we can really get a lot out of this fixture in terms of reach. If we're doing it like as an air effect, you can see now we've gotten it a lot wider, and it's really covering a lot of space really well. And so that's where this gets interesting, because I mean, you can see this camera, we always keep on auto exposure. And so you see, I mean, it's not hitting the camera, but it's blowing out everything else around it. We can take it and pop it into, you know, a pretty deep color, a deep cyan, and it still is really punchy. Essentially, you know, what is the Proteus Radius good for? Like, for sure, it's not an entry-level beam fixture, okay? But if you're doing a mix of indoor and outdoor live events, and you don't mind doing just a little bit of paperwork if you need to use it unterminated outdoors, and you don't mind following the rule, hey, if it's pointing at people, keep it moving, then this can be a really great option, because it gives you the brightness of a lamp-based beam fixture without heat coming out of that lamp, and without having to worry about replacing the lamps and having different lamps that are all sorts of different brightnesses because they're different ages in your inventory. It just kind of becomes a pain in the butt. You know, all of those frustrations are kind of lost with this, plus 360-degree pan and tilt, so it can spin around all you want, it can spin the other way, it can tilt, it can pan all day long, and create some really interesting different effects that you're not going to get with other fixtures. This is definitely, you know, it's the first of this kind of fixture, so definitely, like, it's cool now and it does some really great things, but I think in a few years what we'll probably see is brighter versions of this, so brighter versions of the LILE light engine, where you're going to get more out of it as well. But it's still a really cool innovation, just the fact that it's really bright, really punchy, really small, has kind of a medium weight to it. I think it's about a 40-pound fixture, and inside the box has a lot of versatile effects. You know, from a small beam fixture, you almost never see CMY, you almost never see rotating gobos, and you got both of those on this fixture. So that's going to allow you to do interesting effects like this that you're seeing right now that you can't do with other fixtures. If you like this video, thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe here, and then we'll see you in the next video. And of course, when you need any lighting, sound, or other audiovisual gear, ABOVEAVL.com is your place to get it. Just go ahead, head over to the site, add some stuff to your cart. You can request a quote or reach out to us via the contact page. We'll link both below. We'd love to help you find the perfect fit for your needs, quote it out, and get it in your hands. If that sounds good, we'll see you on the site. Thanks.